As a sports performance professional, our goal should be to make our athletes as powerful as possible. If we want our athletes to run faster, hit harder, jump higher than their opponents, they need to be able to produce more force and do so more quickly than their opponents. This is validated by Minoris, who demonstrates that there's a direct correlation between power output and acceleration, speed, agility, jumping abilities. Um, the optimum performance training model provided by the NASM gives us a linear progression of sorts that creates a fully developed, well-rounded athlete and primes them for peak power production through a methodical approach that addresses three needs: stability, strength, and ultimately power. The OPT model leads our athletes to peak power output and thus prepares them for improved success on the field. Uh, as defined by the NASM, power is the ability to exert maximal force in the shortest amount of time. By following the OPT model and developing the lower levels of stability and strength, um, we give our athletes the tools they need to be able to produce force at a high rate and thus make them more powerful. The research of Rosemeyer tells us that decreased stability um, lowers maximal shoulder strength. Now, if we extrapolate that to other areas of the body, any lack of stability will negatively impact force production and thus an athlete's power output. Winter also notes that proper stabilization creates improved proprioceptive abilities and allows an athlete to activate the appropriate motor units and create muscular tension and movement. So as we can see, stabilization is necessary and paramount for power development. And the OPT model incorporates the stabilization element into total athlete development. Kokorin also shows us that a lack of hypertrophy development, a lack of strength development in an athlete diminishes maximal force capabilities of that athlete. By enlarging the muscle fibers, an athlete creates a greater area for cross-bridge development and thus creates more potential for force production, which is, again, our ultimate goal. We need to be able to produce force. We need bigger, faster, stronger muscles. And so by increasing the size of these muscles, we increase that maximal force capability and enable an athlete to create more power. This is where the OPT model trumps singularly focused methods of training. The OPT model develops athletes from the ground up with proper stabilization, proper strength levels, and then ultimately power. The principle of specificity tells us that if we train our athletes in only one area, the body is only going to adapt to those specific stressors. So if we only get in the weight room, if we only lift heavy, if we only do one specific method of training, our body's only going to adapt that way. However, the OPT model allows us to fully develop this athlete and thus primes them to more effectively and efficiently create power, which again is cannot be repeated enough. That's our ultimate goal. We want to create the most powerful athletes to allow for the best on-field performance. As such, the utilization of the OPT model does this by systematically developing each level of athleticism and priming an athlete for ideal performance.